Attacks on Muslims in the United States increased over 50% in 2016, and Florida saw its share of some of these attacks, as detailed in a new civil rights report issued by the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR. Local spokesperson Rasha Mubarak joins us to elaborate on the findings. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, the report talks about various forms of discrimination against the Muslim community. So can you give us a breakdown?
Absolutely. So what we've seen, interestingly enough, is that this report actually is different from previous reports. Prior, we've seen so much harassment and discrimination from people, individuals, in a societal level, and we've seen that move from the fringes of society to actually people in leadership roles to mainstream. So we've seen people in presidential candidates that are, using that kind of rhetoric, that trying to get voters to vote for them by using fear and intimidation against the Muslim community. So the way that this report is broken down is through the harassment, FBI, employment, denial of religious accommodations, and of course hate crimes.
Now, in Florida, 2 mosques were attacked, right?
Unfortunately, we've seen several mosques being torched. We've seen the one in Fort Pierce, the mosque arson there, and also recently in Tampa.
So what is the most common form of harassment that Muslims face here in Florida?
So the top incidents that we've seen are harassment. So that could be nonviolent, microaggressive, discrimination when you're walking in transitional areas. But what we've seen a surge in is in the FBI's disproportionate targeting of the American Muslim community. In fact, the week of the presidential elections, we received over 100 complaints from American Muslims saying that they were targeted by the FBI. So we're seeing a lot of that. And of course, the hate crimes. A lot of what we're seeing is the sisters that wear headscarves that are visibly and identifiably Muslim on the forefront of a lot of this bigotry.
Now, is your organization taking steps to counter the discrimination that's being faced by the Muslim community?
Absolutely. So our organization believes that ignorance leads to misunderstanding, misunderstanding leads to fear, fear essentially leads to hate, which ultimately, people become discriminatory and become violent. So we want to be able to kind of break the actual violent cycle. So how do we do that is we promote understanding through advocacy work. In fact, we actually opened up a new department at CAIR Florida of interfaith work. But obviously, we do also provide free legal services. We provide Know Your Rights training, security trainings, not just for mosques, but churches, synagogues, and community centers.
So given the political climate, do you have hope that this trend, can be curbed?
Absolutely. I mean, all we can do is hope and continue to work towards that. In Islam, we believe that with adversity comes mercy, and finding that opportunity to make that that mercy happen. And what we've seen in a lot of this climate, a lot of this rhetoric, not just against the Muslim community, but all marginalized communities, is that there's this silver lining. So when the Jewish cemeteries were dismantled, it was the Muslim community that raised over $120,000. And when the Tampa mosque was torched, it was the church next door that said, "Come and pray in our church," right? So we've seen thousands of people stand with the Muslim community when these executive orders that Muslim ban, or even the idea of a Muslim registry was commissioned. Thousands of Americans stood for the true values of what it means to be an American and to fight for civil liberties for all. So yes, we continue to work with all marginalized groups because we're in this together.
All right. Thank you so much, Rasha Mubarak. Good luck with the organization. And as they said, let there be peace.
Yes, thank you.